Oda Nobunaga, a name that resounds through the annals of Japanese history, was not just a warlord, but a visionary whose ambitions set the stage for the unification of a fractured Japan during the tumultuous Sengoku period. This chapter delves into the early life and initial ascent of a man whose leadership and innovative tactics would eventually dominate the Japanese political landscape. Born in 1534 in Nagoya Castle, Oda Nobunaga was the second son of Oda Nobuhide, a minor warlord with modest landholdings in Owari province. Nobunaga's early life was marked by a fiery personality and a disregard for the traditional and ceremonial duties expected of him, earning him the nickname the Fool of Owari. However, beneath this seemingly reckless exterior was a calculated mind, poised for greatness. Nobunaga's path to power began in earnest in 1551, following the death of his father. Despite initial doubts about his capability to lead, Nobunaga quickly asserted his dominance over his family's domain. His unconventional approach to leadership was evident from his bold actions, such as when he famously threw ceremonial incense at a Buddhist altar during a funeral service, signaling his disdain for established norms and his readiness to forge a new path. The true test of Nobunaga's resolve came in 1560 at the Battle of Okehazama. At the time, he was greatly outnumbered by the forces of the powerful daimyo Imagawa Yoshimoto, who sought to march on Kyoto. In what would become a defining moment in his military career, Nobunaga employed a risky tactic, a surprise attack during a downpour. With a mere 3,000 troops, Nobunaga decimated a much larger force of 25,000. This stunning victory not only eliminated a major rival, but also established Nobunaga as a formidable leader with a knack for psychological warfare and strategic brilliance. Following Okehazama, Nobunaga's influence expanded rapidly. He moved his base to the strategically located Inabayama Castle, which he renamed Gifu, drawing from the legendary Mount Chi in China, symbolizing his grand ambition. From this stronghold, he began to implement policies that promoted trade and agriculture, thereby strengthening his economic base and securing the loyalty of his subjects. Nobunaga's leadership style was characterized by his willingness to embrace innovation. He was one of the first major adopters of firearms in Japanese warfare, recognizing early on the transformative impact that matchlock guns could have on traditional combat tactics. This forward-thinking adoption of technology was a key element in his military successes, allowing him to outmaneuver and outgun more traditionally minded rivals. Moreover, Nobunaga was known for his ruthless efficiency in dealing with opposition, but also for his ability to attract and utilize talented individuals from various backgrounds. This included the likes of Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, who would later rise to become pivotal figures in Japanese history themselves. His knack for recognizing talent, irrespective of social standing, was revolutionary in the rigidly hierarchical society of feudal Japan. As we conclude this chapter on Nobunaga's rise, we see not just the ascent of a warlord, but the emergence of a leader whose radical approaches to warfare and governance broke with centuries of tradition. His initial victories and strategic innovations laid the groundwork for what would become his quest to unify Japan, a quest driven by sheer will and a vision for a cohesive nation under one rule. This was just the beginning of Nobunaga's storied career, one that would forever alter the course of Japanese history. Oda Nobunaga's ascent as a formidable leader was not solely the result of his victory at Okehazama, but a series of decisive battles and strategic masterstrokes that underscored his military genius and vision for Japan. This chapter explores the pivotal conflicts that defined Nobunaga's military career and the innovative strategies that led to his dominance over the Sengoku period's warring factions. Following the unexpected triumph at Okehazama, Nobunaga faced the task of consolidating power and expanding his domain. His next major military engagement was the siege of Inabayama Castle in 1567. This castle, held by the Saito clan, was crucial due to its strategic location in Mino province. Nobunaga's approach to this siege showcased his adeptness in psychological warfare. He undermined the enemy's morale through propaganda and used spies to sow discord within the castle. The fall of Inabayama Castle was swift, further expanding Nobunaga's territory and solidifying his reputation as a tactician. The capture of Inabayama Castle set the stage for Nobunaga's entry into Kyoto, the imperial capital, in 1568. Aligning himself with the deposed shogun Ashikaga Yoshiaki, Nobunaga maneuvered into the political center of Japan. Although this alliance was short-lived, it provided Nobunaga with the legitimacy needed to exert influence over the court and further his unification agenda. One of Nobunaga's most significant military innovations was the introduction and integration of firearms into his army. The Battle of Nagashino in 1575 is often cited as a turning point in Japanese warfare due to Nobunaga's strategic use of matchlock guns. Facing the formidable Takeda cavalry, renowned for their charge tactics, Nobunaga deployed 3,000 gunmen behind wooden stockades. These troops, arranged in rotating volleys, decimated the charging enemy and demonstrated the devastating effectiveness of coordinated firearm use on the battlefield. This victory not only crippled one of Nobunaga's most threatening adversaries, the Takeda clan, but also marked a paradigm shift in Japanese military tactics, emphasizing technology and coordination over traditional valor and brute strength. However, Nobunaga's strategies were not limited to warfare. His vision extended to economic and social reforms that would underpin his military successes. Recognizing the importance of a stable and prosperous economic base, Nobunaga promoted free markets and abolished outdated toll gates and monopolies that hindered commerce. These policies not only increased his popularity among the peasantry and merchants, but also boosted economic productivity, providing necessary resources for his campaigns. Throughout his conquests, Nobunaga proved to be a leader who was both feared and admired. His rule was marked by an iron hand, as seen in his response to the Buddhist warrior monks of the Ishiyama Honganji who opposed his authority. The ensuing siege, which lasted from 1570 until 1580, was another demonstration of Nobunaga's ruthless determination to stifle opposition. He laid siege to the temple fortress for 10 years, cutting off food and supplies and ultimately forcing the monks to surrender. As Nobunaga expanded his territory, his strategic governance and reformative policies laid the groundwork for a more centralized and modern state. These efforts were not just about expanding his power, but were steps toward his grander goal of unifying Japan. Nobunaga's ability to combine military innovation with socio-economic reforms created a strong foundation for the eventual unification of the country under his rule and later under his successors. In conclusion, Nobunaga's key battles and strategies reveal a leader whose innovative military tactics and strategic foresight were complemented by significant administrative reforms. His legacy is not only that of a conqueror, but also of a transformative figure who reshaped the Sengoku period and set the stage for the modernization of Japan. This blend of military prowess and visionary governance is what truly defined Nobunaga's indelible mark on Japanese history. Oda Nobunaga was not only a military strategist, but also a transformative leader who implemented groundbreaking policies that reshaped the social and economic landscape of Japan. This chapter examines Nobunaga's governance and his profound impact on Japanese culture during his quest to unify the nation. Nobunaga's approach to governance was characterized by his revolutionary policies, which included economic reforms, social restructuring, and cultural patronage. One of his most notable initiatives was the implementation of the Rakuchi Rakusa policies, which were designed to stimulate the economy by eliminating monopolistic guilds and reducing barriers to market entry. This allowed for free market competition and encouraged economic growth, which was crucial for funding his military campaigns and ensuring the loyalty of his subjects. In addition to economic reforms, Nobunaga focused on centralizing power by restructuring the feudal hierarchy. He strategically placed loyal followers and capable administrators in positions of power across his territories, breaking the stronghold of hereditary daimyos who might oppose his rule. This not only secured his control, but also helped standardize governance practices across Japan, paving the way for more unified national administration. Culturally, Nobunaga was a significant patron of the arts and played a pivotal role in promoting cultural advancements. His support for the tea ceremony is a prime example. He sponsored grand tea gatherings, which were not only social events but also political tools that displayed his wealth and power. Nobunaga's patronage helped elevate the tea ceremony from a purely social activity to an important element of Japanese culture, imbuing it with a spiritual and philosophical significance that reflected the ideals of simplicity and mindfulness. Moreover, Nobunaga was deeply interested in Western technology and ideas, which began to enter Japan through the Portuguese and Spanish in the mid-16th century. He was one of the first Japanese leaders to embrace firearms, which he famously utilized in the Battle of Nagashino. His openness to new ideas also extended to religion, as he granted Jesuit missionaries the freedom to preach Christianity within his domain. This not only diversified the religious landscape of Japan, but also facilitated the exchange of ideas and goods with the Europeans, including medical knowledge, scientific instruments, and artistic influences. Nobunaga's capital, Azuchi Castle, built near Lake Biwa in 1579, stood as a symbol of his power and cultural aspirations. Unlike traditional Japanese castles, which were primarily military in nature, Azuchi Castle was also a lavish residence that showcased impressive architecture, luxurious decorations, and an extensive collection of art. The castle represented Nobunaga's vision of a cultured and unified Japan under his rule, combining military strength with cultural depth. His cultural and political innovations extended to his vision for Kyoto. Nobunaga planned to transform the ancient capital into a vibrant administrative center that would rival the great cities of Europe. Although his vision was cut short by his assassination in 1582, his initiatives had already set irreversible changes in motion that would influence the development of Japanese society for decades to come. Nobunaga's governance was innovative and forward-thinking, marked by significant economic, social, and cultural changes. His policies not only strengthened his military and political power, but also left a lasting impact on Japanese culture, helping transition the country from the medieval Sengoku period to a more modern and unified era. Nobunaga's legacy is thus twofold. He was both a unifier of Japan and a catalyst for cultural renaissance, setting the stage for the nation's eventual transformation into a cohesive and culturally rich society. Nobunaga's strategies laid the groundwork for the eventual unification of Japan under Toyotomi Hideyoshi and later Tokugawa Ieyasu. His reforms during the Sengoku period helped transition Japan from feudal chaos to a more centralized and stable society. This transformation was critical in setting the stage for Japan's development into a modern state. Reflecting on Nobunaga's legacy helps us appreciate how individual leadership can precipitate broad historical changes. In conclusion, Oda Nobunaga's life offers rich lessons in leadership that are applicable beyond the historical confines of feudal Japan. His story is a testament to the impact that innovative, bold, and visionary leadership can have on society. By studying Nobunaga, modern leaders and scholars can gain insights into the dynamics of power, the importance of cultural influence, and the profound effects of leadership on a nation's trajectory. As we move forward into an increasingly complex global landscape, the lessons from Nobunaga's rule remind us of the enduring principles of effective leadership and governance.